Well, it's just me, the wind, the butterflies, and stupendous spring color here at the cottage for today's Wednesday walkabout that we are shooting on Tuesday because I think it's supposed to rain tomorrow, Stuart. I'm hoping it does anyway. So this is going to be a two-parter because there is so much to show you. So we're going to start with the front yard, and then I think we need to go to the back. So what do you say, Stuart? Let's do it. Well, we're going to start here on Lemon Lane, looking through the eastern redbud tree. And boy, they got off to a slow start, but they have already grown so much since last year. I'm absolutely thrilled. And yes, in the future, we are going to be doing some pruning on them so that they start adopting a similar shape to the shape that they had when we were at the other house, and I think they'll be beautiful, but that's for another day. Right now, let's just appreciate how gorgeous and healthy they look. And yes, we have fertilized them, and we're going to do a whole video on that, but I guess I need to move on because there's so much to see. We did add, at the end of Lemon Lane, I had a void, and we added a couple of Touch of Gold hollies, because they just seemed as if they really needed to be. Yeah, they needed to be on Lemon Lane. And then the view from this direction, let's just take a moment, Stuart, to show everyone how gorgeous it looks. All of the foxglove, the It's a Breeze roses, the butterflies, the well, just everything, the Miss Lemonabelia, the lemon lime nandina, how gorgeous they all just look. It looks really good. Backlit by that morning sun. I think it's just fabulous. And everything on this side, on the west side, is very harmonious in terms of the color palette. So lots of ivories, lots of this kind of fuchsia purpley color in the foxglove and also in the salvias. And I love that. I just love all of these color echoes. I love the spires right in front of the rose. I think it's really just beautiful. So if you walk this way,
that was a pretty wide shot. So yeah, tell me again what you were pointing out there.
Yeah, well, just how gorgeous the foxglove looks right in front of the rose.
Yep.
And all of the salvia over there, and then also the alliums are starting to bloom, and they're in this same kind of a fuchsia purpley color, in contrast to, if you kind of focus over there on the larkspur, it's much bluer. It's a much bluer purple, and this is a much pinkier purple, if that's an official term. So I think the layers of it look really, really incredible. And this is before any of the hydrangeas in the back have come into bloom. And yes, some of you commented that I needed to clean out my bird bath, and I am in the process of doing that. It's kind of hard to keep clean, and then I'll fill it up with water. But boy, the pollinators are loving everything being in bloom. The butterflies, the bees, just happy, happy, happy. Can you see all the bees?
I ran right into one.
Yeah, they're just everywhere. And I fed my rose with some rose tone, and both of them actually, and boy, they are rewarding me with just these gorgeous blooms. Some of them are kind of pink, some of them are ivory.
Oh wow, there are pink
but
ones.
Yeah, but they're absolutely gorgeous. And look over here, my scabiosa or pincushion flower is also rewarding me with lots of butterflies, as is the purple salvia greggii. I mean, everything just is very, very happy. And this is before the butterfly bushes, the budlii, the butterfly candy, have even started to bloom. So this side, the west side, is really, really incredible. I love it. And it in no way, I've had so many visitors to the cottage recently, and if they make one comment, it's that it looks so much more beautiful in person. It really is hard to capture with a camera, because not only is it experiential, but it just doesn't do justice to the colors, especially on a day to day where when it's kind of sunny. So let's take a break here. Everything on this side is very, very happy. Let Stuart show how that redbud tree, which was the last to bud out, is actually looking to me like it's the happiest of them all. And you can see the new growth has kind of a red tinge to it, the new leaves. So that is already putting on lots of growth. And then of course, because I want it to get some shade, but not too shady, we will do the aforementioned pruning. So let's take a break here. But before we go, let me point out that all of my hollies also got a big feeding, and also, yes, and also a treatment. They were showing some signs of distress. Again, we will go over all of that. I will have an expert guest who will describe exactly what he did to get those healthy, and we also fed our trees. So at any rate, as my dad would say, the west side looks great. Now let's go over to the east side and see what's happening over here. Well, it has been a while since I've done an outfit of the day, and this may be one of the coziest outfits I've had on in a long time. It's all knit, and it is very good for going out to lunch, but also for those few little chores that I want to do in the garden. So my topper, I love this. And by the way, this ensemble I have worn on the airplane more than once. The topper is great for if you're chilly in the morning, strolling around the garden, or on an airplane. And this matched sweater set is also tray comfortable, and I think it's kind of chic looking. My earrings, my wood earrings, I got these online, and actually I got my entire ensemble I bought online.
I like that necklace. I don't know why.
Yeah, the necklace is kind of fun. This is the only thing. This belonged to my mother-in-law, and I'm not sure where she sourced it. And Stuart is infatuated by my Adidas tennis shoes, and these are my favorite. My favorite purchase I've had in a long time. Yeah, Stuart's got his on, I've got my version. These are so comfortable. So this whole outfit is about comfort, and I guess kind of chic comfort, if it's such a thing. And I have to point out my Hungry Holler mug from my friend Jan. And there you go, there is my outfit du jour. Okay, this side has a lot going on too, probably more of the kind of purpley, bluish purpley kind of vibe going on. I've been doing tons of deadheading of all of the East Friesland salvia. You can see there is one batch right there that I have left for the pollinators, and soon I will be deadheading it too. I'm a little bit disappointed because in my imagination, the salvia excuse me, was going to be blooming in tandem with this white Minoan lace up front, the more tidier, quainter, more well-mannered version of Queen Anne's lace. And I had hoped that they would kind of bloom in tandem, and I might still get some of that bloom because there's all sorts of Minoan lace that has not yet set bud, and all sorts of larkspur that is just now catching up. So I think it'll be beautiful. And I love the tension of all of this full seasonal color against the structure of the boxwoods and the sunshine ligustrum and all of the other shrubs. The fire chief, the orange rocket barberry, I just think it all looks lovely. On this side, interestingly, this will be something to note in my garden journal, the butterfly bushes are not nearly as far along as they are on the west side. Now I'm going to assume that that is because there isn't quite as much sun here.
Coming that way, those are so pretty there.
The orange rocket barberry,
Yeah,
I know
so
they're
crazy.
glorious right now. And I'm letting them get larger than I normally do. I think historically I've been a little too quick, a little bit too quick draw with my clippers, so I'm trying to squelch that inclination. Yes, and so these are the butterfly bushes, the gray, and they are probably just a third of the size as the ones on the other side. Again, because I think they don't get quite as much sun. They are shaded by some of the plants in the foreground. So who really knows why? But the ever white agapanthus are doing beautifully. You know, these are the ones that I just set in their holes in pots, and they like being root bound, and so these two are rewarding me with lots and lots of blooms. And then I've got, on this side, I've got different kinds of allium. And here's a tip, you guys, and that is when you plant alliums, a lot of the stuff that I grow in this garden, and I'll be doing a video on it, they enjoy heavy clay, or they can grow or at least tolerate heavy clay. Alliums do not. They demand good drainage. So whenever I plant an allium, I dig a huge hole and I put a pretty generous scoop of gravel at the bottom of the hole so that it has enough air for those air between the particles of clay for the roots to penetrate and really perform in a more superior fashion. And behind you, Stuart, yeah, aren't they just gorgeous? And then right behind you, if you torque carefully, you'll see the penstemon, and it's getting ready to come into bloom. That is, I believe, Husker's Red. I have different varieties, but it is really happy this year. And it's doing very, very well. And I love the color of the foliage in addition to the flowers, which will bloom. And yeah, there's another one.
The green underneath.
Yeah.
I can see it more in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
So it's really beautiful. And then you can see more Minoan lace over there to your right, Stuart, right in front of the beautiful color of the Fire Chief arborvitae.
I know, it's really the standout.
There's so much to see, and there's a lot of times we have this kind of conflict between showing you the big shot and then showing you up close and personal with each individual element. So while we continue to think about that conflict, we're going to take another break, and I want to show you kind of a follow-up to something I demonstrated last week. Now, last week, I think I showed you how I have begun to prune up this Ann Magnolia so that it looks more like a small tree than a large bush. One of my favorite things to do. It's putting out tons of new growth, and I'm going to get that effect before I know it. So I showed you how I removed lots of these interior branches, and I've still got a little bit of cleaning up to do, but definitely you can see the architecture and the structure of the trunks of this tree, because now it definitely looks like a small tree rather than a shrub. So I told you that not only do I want to kind of thin it out vertically, but I also want to get more room horizontally, because that too will influence the shape but also make it look a little bit more statuesque. So before, I had just put a spacer in here with a piece of wood to demonstrate, and I wanted something a little bit more permanent. So this was an easy remedy, or an easy fix. I just took some string here.
Stay there, I'll get over here.
Okay. I just took some string here and I attached it to that stepping stone. This isn't a way that I typically come walking through the garden, so I'm not concerned about tripping, but this is heavy enough that it can support this branch and hold it in place. Now what I might do is I kind of want this one also to move over this way a little bit, so I could do the same thing.
From how close I was. All right, there you go.
Okay, so I could do the same thing. I could add a little bit of tension to this with some string and then just secure it with a stake or something. But the overall profile of this Ann Magnolia looks so much different than it did before, and pretty soon when it gets taller, I will have another element of kind of privacy and verticality here on this side of the social patio, and I think it will be just really, really lovely. So that is one more thing that is in progress, and I wanted to kind of give you an update on that. Now let me also give you an update on something else that had not been blooming last year. They were 2 recently planted to bloom last year, but look, let's see if we can get a close-up. Love, love, love the color of this Little Miss Bonnie Spirea. I think it is just gorgeous. Look at how sweet it looks right there with that golden feverfew. And all of this feverfew came up from seed. So this is a perfect example of what we talk about when in garden design, when we talk about layering. So we are layering one plant with another plant, some in the foreground, some intermingled, and some a little bit in the background. So here I've got some of these wonderful better boxwoods. I believe these are Renaissance, excuse me, Renaissance. And then I've got the golden feverfew. Then I've got the Little Miss Bonnie Spirea blooming in this lovely, lovely shade of pink. I think that's just adorable. And then behind it, if you move this way, and this is the third element or fourth element that I'm working on for even more complexity in color and texture. And that is, I've got a like-colored salvia growing right behind it. Now, I'm not exactly sure the variety of this, but whenever it blooms and it goes to seed, I just continually move clumps. So this clump will eventually spread, and it will be a whole nother layer that harmonizes beautifully. Look here, look at that.
Go back to, there you go. Oh yeah.
Just harmonizes beautifully with that color of salvia. And then if you look in the distance, you see more salvia right there. And then if you go up higher, you see the allium with a little butterfly friend on it.
And more salvia in the background.
And more salvia in the background. So it's all very continuous in the design. It's all very harmonious. And it's just an example of layering that you can see continues all around the perimeter of the patio. So it starts here with this Cranberry Creek boxwood, which, by the way, I told you guys are on, I think the price has gone up by a couple of dollars, but still a fabulous, fabulous price, and we will put a link below. But this whole concept continues around the patio from one end to another. And then there's a couple of other little surprises. I've got some variegated lemon thyme that smells incredible. And then there's a few potted plants, but this whole element, layered composition continues.
What's the time at? I wanted to show the time. No, the time, the plant time, sorry.
Oh. What time is it? I'm thinking, okay, what an erratic thing for him to say in the
I
middle
wasn't
of
looking
shooting.
when you said that.
Yeah, right here.
Show him. Cool.
And it smells incredible. Let me stick my fingers in your nose.
It does smell really good.
It
Jeez.
smells incredible.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, I can smell it from here.
Yeah,
man.
it's really, really wonderful.
What a cool little plant.
So there's a few other places where I need to add some clumps or divide some clumps of that salvia, but I think I just think the whole thing is lovely. And then the color continues with the scabiosa, the pincushion flower, and in the distance. And everything is waving to us in the breeze. So let's take a break here, and then I've got other things to show you. Well, we'll get another glimpse of It's a Breeze. And then I'll show you some projects that I'm working on. So number one, along Lemon Lane, this is where my hose travels. So the faucet is underneath the diamond-shaped windows, and then the hose travels along this way. So what I have noticed is as I've planted more along this side of Lemon Lane, I'm starting to crush these plants with my hose. So enter some hose guides. So this one I had back in my garage, and I just put a coat of matte spray paint in black on it. And then I've got some lower ones on order, I'll put the link below, where the hose can travel along the guides instead of crushing the plants. The Nepeta and well, just really anything that's growing along that edge. And so then it comes here and then it stops here in kind of a dramatic way at the front porch. So I've got my urns planted, out go the pansies, out go the violas, and in comes the things that will be more heat loving, summer loving, and still give me lots of color and drama at the top of the steps. So last year I dug up and overwintered some of the diamond frost euphorbia. So even though it's in bloom, it's adjusting. Right now, these are complaining a little bit. They look a little wilty, but before too long, with some time, with some sun, with some warmth, and a little bit of, or a lot of fertilizing, these will be beautiful. So in these pots, I am thinking about pollinators. So I have pentas, I have diamond frost euphorbia, I've got some purple calibrachoa, I've got, because this is a really hot location, I've got some periwinkles, I've got some vervain that I bought at Bricks, and this one over here basically replicates in a symmetrical way the urn on the other side. So that makes me happy. And then I also planted the basket, the Easter basket, which is now, I guess, a summertime basket. And I took out all the pansies, all the violas, and in it now are some sunpatiens, more vervain, some of that golden feverfew, and more of the pink pentas, because I kind of want this area up here to not only have some of the lavender tones and things, but really start showing up a little bit more in pink. So then we progress from these container plantings, and by the way, I'm so happy to have these done because they really will take time to get beautiful, and I think we've got, as I said earlier, I think we've got rain coming tomorrow. I hope so, because if we get some rain and some warmth, this stuff will explode. So same thing over here. Now last year, those of you that did not like all the wildness that I had planted in this window box and the fullness, this year it's going to be a tighter composition, though I am hoping by the end of the summer it will be equally as profuse with bloom. So here I've got pink wave petunias, some hot pink calibrachoa or million bells. I've got Dusty Miller that I keep pinching. I've got the bicolored ajuga. I've got some of the vinca that blooms in the same color, the periwinkles that bloom in the same color. What else do I have in here? Oh, I've got more of those pentas in pink. All of these are the same color palette. So when this really takes off, it should be huge in short order. I would say in 3 weeks, it will all begin to cascade over the side, if not before then. Now, another element that I love here is this problem-solving plant. Whenever I have a really problem location, pick a plant that I know will perform. And Sunshine Ligustrum is one of my go-to plants. You guys know this. And I have pruned it up a little bit at the base. So this too, as it grows, will give me a little bit more privacy in the bath, but it will also start to cascade vertically and horizontally in this kind of umbrella-shaped profile that I think will be beautiful with all of this pink. So there you go with my Irish mint euonymus. I think it's just going to be absolutely beautiful. And then just a touch of seasonal color at the bottom of this topiary, which has recovered nicely from lots of winter damage earlier. I've got more of that vervain, which will bloom in lavender with some more million bells in purple. And then over here, I'm just kind of continuing the theme with some scaviola and some more sunpatiens in that color. Pretty soon, this will all grow and it will completely fill in. Now, new to the party, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with these. But, I mean, just look at that. Look at how gorgeous the color of this butterfly candy in raspberry looks with these pinks. So I'm not sure how I'm going to use them, but I think this entire tableau is magnificent. If you would want to put together a container planting that contained all of these elements, well, I would probably put this in the center and then have all of that color cascading over the side. It would require a huge planter, but I think it would be pretty magnificent, don't you, Stuart?
Absolutely.
Yeah, really, really gorgeous. Again, this is raspberry candy butterfly. So let's take a break here because I've still got more to show you, so much, so I apologize. This may be kind of a long Wednesday walkabout, but it just is spectacular right now and I want to share it with you all. So let's take a break and we'll be right back. Well, the berms on either side of the railings, they're getting ready to undergo some changes because the final dregs, I guess, of the violas and the pansies, they'll be here for a little bit longer, but after we get the rain, hopefully this week, I will take all of those out, and then it's the other plantings in here that will take center stage, starting with the 2 urns, which right now really look like not such a much, but again, with time and with some fertilizer and with some warmth, they will definitely be beautiful. I've repeated the same pentas. I've saved some of the lantana from last year. I saved some of the golden Joseph's coat. So when all of these fill out, after I've cut them back hard, then these will be beautiful too and will echo pretty much the color palette of the plantings at the top of the stairs. So like I say, these right now aren't too beautiful, but let's just do a before and after, Stuart, because I'm sure in a couple of weeks they'll be glorious. I transplanted some of the East Friesland down here onto the berm, and it is very, very happy now, and I've deadheaded all of it. There's also some lavender veronica, and then I also planted some white frost dianthus. It was actually in 2 big pots and I just split the pots, and this stuff is getting established. It was a little traumatized in the process, but again, once it gets its root system going, I think it will be happy too. And this whole area will just look more seasonal. It's still got elements of spring. You okay? Yeah, definitely the wind is getting to both of us today. But once this stuff is removed, it will definitely all look much more summery, late spring, and will be really, really beautiful. And sweet Charlie came over to do some chalk art for me yesterday and then got interrupted in mid artwork. So she'll have to come and finish that for me.
I like the direction.
Yes, and she will do it in the signature pink that I'm using right now. So it is looking, I think, pretty good right now, and my vision is that pink will travel up here and go all the way to the window box and through the urns, and I think it'll really, really be lovely. And then there are other pink things that will come into bloom. Pink coneflower in kind of a shorter size, the crazy pinks from Southern Living. Then there's more just traditional pink coneflower. There'll be some pink zinnias, and so there will be a progression of pink, particularly on this side, which will arrive just in time for the hydrangeas. So I'm very, very excited. It's the only thing, this is why I think progression of bloom is so important, because yes, it's sad when the tulips are finished, but I know on the heels of the tulips that these roses are going to be absolutely glorious, along with the allium and some of the other perennials, with all of the salvias and also with the Minoan lace. So that makes me less sad about the tulips. I will be sad about the departure of the roses, even though they'll bloom again with deadheading. I'll be sad about that, but I know that in their wake, there will be hydrangeas and there will be candy butterfly and all sorts of other perennials. So that's the beauty of planting and planning a progression of bloom throughout the season, so you always have something to look forward to and you're not too sad. Look at the pretty light, Stuart, when one thing finishes.
All the purples just lit up.
Yes, yes. And by the way, I know you will ask, these are some of the cages that were in my QVC line, and sadly they are not offered anymore, but I have placed these. I spray painted them black. They were copper. I spray painted them black, and now they are supporting, or will support, some dahlias that were planted by seed from my friend Carolina Elizabeth. So those will be, I think those will be beautiful once they come up, and they look good while the rest of this area that's a little bit barren right now waits to fill in. So let's take a break here, Stuart, and then we will go down the east side and ultimately get to the backyard. Now this is one of my beloved scented geraniums that my friend Monica gave me years ago. It came out of the greenhouse, and this, by the way, is one of my friend Victor's favorite plants. It smells divine, and I think I saw earlier it even had a little bloom. I need to do some primping on this. Yeah, there's a little bloom. So some of them are starting to bloom. So I need to enhance the beauty of that bloom by removing some of this dead growth, and I will do that. And then around this side of the patio, there's just more of the layering of the spirea, of the goat's beard or the penstemon, another Eugenia topiary. And by the way, now is when these really start coming out with new growth and filling out and get more density to the balls themselves, because it really likes the heat. It likes full sun and lots of heat. And so these will start really, really beautifying, because all of the new foliage will fill in and they won't look quite so sparse. Now, happily, I'm so excited. So my basket of movable fragrance that I potted up earlier, this is coming into bloom, and these are ever so fragrant. And in fact, I had 2 jubilation gardenias, which you can find now at Lowe's, and I had not done anything with them yet. They were just still in their pots. So last week I had a couple of visitors who were either celebrating something or going through a hard time, and so they each got gifted a gardenia, and it's really, really beautiful, and I like the way it looks in one of my Kobo baskets from QVC, which sadly are also not available anymore. But I do love it, and I love the fact that it's beautiful fragrance. And then when you look this way, Stuart, if you come here, back where I am, and turn around and look towards the street, you can see how much more beautiful that geranium is on this side, and how things look as you're looking in that direction. My little pumpkin vine,
how's it doing?
it's waiting for heat, and then it will really, really go crazy, and I will start training it up this little tutor. It may persist, it may not, but I'm not going to worry about it, because it's a little garden risk worth taking. And then along the brick wall, I can see a first bud, another thing to record, a first bud on the apple blossom roses. So these bloom later than the It's a Breeze, but when they bloom, I anticipate that they too will be spectacular. The Sedum Autumn Joy already is putting out buds. That seems really early to me, but that's okay. I can cut it back after it blooms, deadhead it, and stick those parts in the ground, and I'll have an even bigger clump of it. You can see where I rebalanced my garden portfolio, and I took a boxwood that was right there and I transplanted it someplace else. Now I need to fill that hole in. And here is my first rose. I believe this was, I need to double check. I believe I remember equivocating between a couple of different varieties to plant here, and I believe this is an Eden. And then that,
I love those.
yeah, the clematis is just looking beautiful. So this is another case of first year it sleeps, second year it creeps, and third year it leaps. And look at how tall it's getting. So pretty soon we will train this up and over.
See how the top leaf is just red.
Yep, yep. A lot of times new growth on plants is red. Here's one of the lantana that I took out of the greenhouse. and it will go in somewhere. And look at that. That clematis is just going bonkers. It's just beautiful. All of my pinching paid off. And the arborvitaes are looking happy, and they're getting taller, and all of these moondance hydrangeas, well, we're just waiting for them. But this will be another thing where once something else goes out of bloom, new things come into bloom, and these actually bloom a little bit later than the white weddings in the front. And then I anticipate that maybe at about the same time, these encore azaleas will bloom in white. So it'll be pretty wonderful. And I'm sad that the viburnum is finished, but you know what? I love these seed heads, and I'm going to show you something that I did with these by bringing them into the house and creating kind of a sculptural arrangement. And then in the distance, you'll see that I added one more Oakland holly to line up with this one. As I continue to embellish this stretch just a little bit, not a lot, but so that it doesn't look as if there's just so much beauty and lushness at that end, and then it just stops here. So I've planted another Oakland holly here, and this will give me some privacy and will also give me a vertical element right at the gate. So now let's take a break, and then we'll go into the backyard. Okay, well, come on in, Stuart. And I know Stuart is coming because I've got that wonderful squeak in my gate. And it has been so windy that I'm wanting to make sure I'm doing really targeted watering on a number of different things, but especially right now on all this ajuga that I've planted, because I want it to very, very quickly fill in all of these gaps. And look at how rapidly it's spreading. One of the reasons it's spreading so well is because, here's a tip, you guys, ajuga really can handle clay soil. So and it actually does not like to be overwatered. So I definitely would recommend it as another problem-solving plant because it can really handle tough clay. And look through here, it's really beginning to fill in. So imagine, if you will.
It was cool, it's like you highlighted it when you got it wet.
Imagine, if you will, what this will look like when it is all filled in and all of these hydrangeas are in full bloom. Those are Annabelles, really tough. So let me put this down. And by the way, a lot of you have asked, do I still really like this lightweight metal hose? And absolutely I do. I love it. I love it in the front and I love it in the back, and it is probably the best hose I have definitely ever had. And it's, I can never remember the brand. It's Bagalala or Balala. What is it, Leah?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's some kind of strange name, but we will put a link.
I was going to say, it's a heck of a recommendation coming from a woman who's had very many hoses.
Well,
I love that water hose.
yeah, all of us gardeners, we know how it is to suffer for our hose and to really haul heavy rubber around, and this is just the antithesis of that. Okay, so now let me put this down, but let me also highlight with my beautiful hose my beautiful topiaries, which are now outside on my stand. And by the way, these stands are still available on QVC and on discount now. So definitely I would encourage you, we will put a link. This is 4 of them here that does this complete circle. It's absolutely wonderful, would look cool inside or out. I've always imagined what it would look like in the winter time, just filled with nothing, a full circle of nothing but poinsettias. I think that would be gorgeous. So here are my myrtle topiaries.
My mom just said Midwest City Lowe's has better boxwood too.
Oh, really? Okay, so yes, so definitely one of you, I want to say Kate, but we'll definitely find out, contacted me and said that they had seen better boxwood at Lowe's. I am thrilled. I went there yesterday. Well, let's this weekend we'll insert a little video from our trip to Lowe's. But oh my gosh, not only are they there, they're at a great price point. I could not believe the price on them. So you guys know how important it is as a first line of resistance to plant blight resistant boxwood. So let me show you what all is going on out here. Stuart, don't trip on the hose. And here is my question of the day. So in the front, I showed you all of my different layers around the social patio, and I also have layers here using different kinds of plants. So my question of the day is, what kind of layering and in what colors do you do in your own garden? Because I really think it adds to the complexity, the sophistication, and definitely the beauty and seasonal interest of all of our gardens. So here I have used, as you guys know, I have used different plants like the ajuga, dragon prince cryptomeria, lots of boxwood, pancake arborvitae, and then I just added recently another layer until all of this really fills in and mound touches mound, and that is, I got a flat of red verbena and I have put it in the ground around this back door patio. I'll keep it deadheaded. I need some little clippers, and hopefully it will spread and really be beautiful. So you can see that, well, if you look over here, Stuart, you can see how I've also planted it on this edge. And I'll be curious to see which facet and which sun exposure of the oval around the perimeter does best with this red verbena. And then I've echoed it in my planter because I took out the pansies and violas. It's all about red back here, very Deanna Vreeland. And I've got red pentas, more red verbena, which I need to do a little grooming on. And it's planted all around the perimeter.
Well,
So
it's like the brightest red. Isn't it?
yeah, it's really beautiful. And even as it gets hot and the geraniums start to suffer a little bit, there are other hot loving plants that will be beautiful in here and start to come out and give some continued red color. So I've got those Akita dahlias that have not yet erupted, and I anticipate that the autumn coral azaleas will keep blooming, and I might plant some red and gold and orange zinnias back here. I'm not really sure, but all of this is just growing, putting on volume, and before too long all of this is going to grow together. I planted my parsley along with my greens in this planter here. I've been harvesting little bits of lettuce and chard. This first box number 1, has been slowest, and even though it's in sun right now, it probably gets the least amount of light during the day because it's in the shade underneath these cedar trees. But hopefully as the sun goes south in the sky, that will improve. And I put a few more stepping stones here for Stuart to step on.
As things get bigger, it gets tougher.
It does get tougher. We suffer for our craft. And then I am just now really finishing up populating and staging my theaters over here. So I did plant these are 2 new additions, 2 heartthrob red blooming hydrangeas. These are Southern Living plants. Red hydrangeas, and we will put a link to that, kind of a cherry red. And then over here, this one I still need to fill. I did put a couple of stepping stones as landing pads in front of both of these terraces. These are variegated New Guinea impatiens to give me more color. And then here's a tip. I had a couple of just these inexpensive Boston fern, and they're just in these hanging, they just came in hanging baskets, these plastic hanging baskets, and I just had them sitting here on this plant terrace. Sadly, they just kept blowing over because it's been so windy. So I took a couple of my hanging baskets there, and I just nestled them into these baskets and used the hook to secure it to the plant stand itself, and these have not blown over since. Now, if you're in an even windier area, or if they are even less secure and you really wanted to make sure that they did not move, then you could also use like electrical ties or something to secure them, secure them to the plant stand. In this case, these had hooks. I wasn't using these as hanging planters, so they proved to be a wonderful solution. Always use what you have if you have the opportunity. So now my red angel wing begonias are starting to come out. I bought a couple of more pots. Most of those will probably live on that plant stand. And then slowly but surely everything is filling out, and I think it's looking beautiful, and I am really, really anxious for all of this ajuga to fill in. And on a final note, and by the way, so many of you have said you can't hold on to the railing going up and down the steps because of the pots. Au contraire, you can hold on to the railing going in both directions. So never fear, never fear.
Can we get a close-up of that?
Yeah, yes, let's get a close-up of me holding the railing, of me holding the railing and coming down the steps. Yes, like Scarlett O'Hara. And then over here on this, in our planting area, somebody asked, do I ever plant hostas? And typically not, and especially in the ground. Even though they're good for clay soil, they do want a little bit more water, and they always, I don't know, slugs and snails always attack them. But these were on deep discount at Lowe's, and so I think, inspired by those that John Turman had in his garden, I decided that I needed some of these. So since they were on deep discount, I'm going to plant them all together in one huge low pot, and I think they'll really be beautiful. So that will be from the potting bench. We will do that in the future. Look at how my amaryllis are coming out. They're very happy. I brought another pot out of them here. And then lastly, look here. I really cut back this heavenly bamboo Nandina hard, and I told you that wherever you make a cut, it will put out new growth. Look here. Look at this new growth right there. So I made that cut, and immediately it started generating new lower growth, so this whole area won't look so woody. I cut this one, and there's a bud there. And then I've got these sweet little flirt nandinas in here, and this whole area I think will just be gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous in this maroon color. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. If you're in the Oklahoma City area, because of potential weather that never materialized, we canceled the book signing at Commonplace Books last weekend, but we will be there May 4th, and I hope you will be there too. I'll be signing journals. We'll have some of the new two-book boxed sets. And anyhow, I would love to see you there. So thanks for hanging out with me in this Wednesday walkabout. I apologize. It was a long one, but there is just so much to show you. And let's end with a beautiful expanse, with the exception of the hose, looking over the backyard living room.